So this exact conversation while I'm in my friend's car is what led me to just jump out this car. She called me, said, "I'm not your mom. I don't want you. I'm not your mom." I said, "F you, you never were." Tossed out the phone out the window, and I just looked at my friend and I sort of went up my breath and said, like, "F this," and jumped out the car. That at that
Mm,
exact point, I really was. It was like confirmed. Like, okay, I definitely want to leave here now.
mm. So you launch out the car and you go like head first, right? Into the
I don't know how I fell. All I know is as soon as I opened the door, like the back of my head, like boom, like it hit the concrete, and that's what I
Did it
remember.
hurt? Like, did you feel like any pain? Like, do you remember any pain?
All I remember is me saying, I think that hurt." Like I wasn't sure if it hurt.
Wow. Okay. And then can you describe the feeling of sort of leaving your body in that moment?
I didn't know I left my body. That's the thing. Like I didn't know
Hmm.
I left anywhere because I looked down, like I thought I was seeing everything else like normal. So, but then I looked down, see my body. I'm like, wait, that's not my body. I'm tripping. I'm probably sleep something. Okay, I'm gonna just walk home. So I started trying to walk. I only took about 2 or 3 steps, and then that's when everything was gone. Like I was in the midair.
Hi, everybody. It's your girl E, and this is another episode of Vision Rebirth. This is a podcast where we explore life changing stories of near death experiences, outer body experiences, divine dreams, meditations, and encounters with higher beings. And today we have a special guest. He's an author and motivational speaker who had a near death experience that transformed his life. Today I have Chris Bats. How are you
Hey,
today?
thank you. I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm glad we're connecting. I've been wanting to speak to you for a while, so
I
I'm glad
know. I know. I'm
we
sorry.
finally get into it.
Yeah.
No, it's everything happens at the right time. That's the vibe I'm on now. Okay, so let's just get into it. So I want to start by just asking you like your thoughts of God before your near death experience.
Okay, so before my near death experience, my thoughts of God was I knew like he existed from what I thought was he. That's what I was raised on in church. So my thoughts of God was just this like you got to be perfect in order, if you're not perfect, you make a mistake or you don't read the King James version of the Bible, you're going to burn in hell for eternity in the lake of fire. That's what I was raised on. So I was
Gotcha.
kind of like a fear, you could say.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was raised on the same thing. It was, sort of like fear God. You're
Right.
going to hell if you don't. And
Don't
like
ask
God is
questions.
like, yeah, God is like an angry God that's gonna
Yeah.
punish you. I almost like it. I almost used to be like, so God is kind of like Santa Claus. So like he has a list of naughty and nice. And like some he's gonna the lump of coal is hell. Like I used to kind of look at it like that. And
That's
I always
crazy.
thought that was weird. I
Yeah.
always thought that was weird. So so you went through life and you had a really tough upbringing. And you had like a tough relationship, with your mother. What was your relationship with your father? Like did you have like a
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I never met the dude, so
okay.
I talked to him one time because he called somehow, got in touch with my family, and but other than that, I haven't talked to him. I don't really have a relationship with him. I never met him, and I only know what he looks like because of my half sister that showed me the only picture that she had of him.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
So it's pretty safe to say that like you were in a space that you essentially felt alone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Like I was like the man of the house. I got to raise myself kind of thing. That's how I always seen my life. Like I got to raise myself.
Right.
Yeah, to
So
be a man.
so you got into this space where you wanted to self transition And I know personally, like that's like a really dark space um to be in. Can you like just touch on sort of like the mindset you were in when you like wanted to self transition?
Oh, like you mean like before my near death experience?
Yeah, like right before
Oh,
you
yeah.
self transition, like right
Okay.
before you.
So I don't know if I could say this word on like on the
Yeah,
internet or
yeah.
whatever, but the words like suicidal. That's how I felt. I felt like taking my life. I was very dark. I was very numb. That was my mindset. And as far as religion, I at this point I was so numb. I really didn't care. My thing was like I'm so suicidal. Burning in a lake of fire would be way better than life how it was then.
Wow. And so then you actually did it. Like you were in your friend's car, you say, and you like just launched yourself out the vehicle. Like what was like going through your mindset like as you were doing that, as you like launched yourself out the vehicle?
Okay, so this like after high school, whatever, I was like real popular, didn't really have suicidal thoughts. But after high school, it was when everything sort of just started changing, when my friends moved on with their life, start, moving a lot faster than I was. I was what I got and that's what it was. So I guess at this point I felt like really like instead of like really I gotta play catch up now. I gotta, do what I gotta do like alone. Like and it's a lot harder for me. So at this point I was just real like let me just end my life right now and like I was leaving my friend's house, yeah, and I remember like this one phone call I got from my mom, which I haven't spoke to in years. This sort of I know like with me planning suicide and all that stuff for like months, I was planning. Hearing from my mom probably could have changed my mind. So I probably could have said, well, it's my mom, say I'm sorry, I love you, stuff like that. Maybe I might not even want to do this no more. Let me stick around and have some hope. So this exact conversation while I'm in my friend's car is what led me to just jump out this car. She called me, said, I'm not your mom. I don't want you. I'm not your mom. I said, F you, you never were, tossed out the phone out the window. And I just looked at my friend and I sort of went on my breath and said, like, F this and jumped out the car. That at that
Mm,
exact point, I really it was like confirmed, like, okay, I definitely want to leave here now.
mm. So you launch out the car and you go like head first, right? Into the
I don't know how I felt. All I know is as soon as I opened the door, like the back of my head, like boom, like it hit the concrete. And that's what I
Did it
remember.
hurt? Like did you feel like any pain? Like do you remember any pain?
All I remember is me saying, I think that hurt. Like I wasn't sure if it hurt.
Wow. Okay. And then can you describe the feeling of sort of leaving your body in that moment?
I didn't know I left my body. That's the thing. Like I didn't know
Hmm.
I left anywhere because I looked down, like I thought I was seeing everything else like normal. So, but then I looked down, see my body. I'm like, wait, that's not my body. I'm tripping. I'm probably asleep or something. Okay, I'm gonna just walk home. So I started trying to walk. I only took about 2 or 3 steps, and then that's when I just everything was gone. Like I was in the midair at this
You
point.
so you felt yourself in the air?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely feel myself in there. I didn't feel myself transition to go in the air. I just remember looking
Okay.
at my body, trying to walk, and then boom, I was in the air. Like that's how it happened.
Huh.
Hmm.
Wow. That's interesting. It's not I guess saying it's good to know there's no pain is that sounds crazy, but like, you know, I know like that's like a fear in dying is like it's going to hurt.
I will say this: that boom, that sound, it reminded me of a time I fell off a tricycle. I think I was like maybe 3 or 4, and that same exact like boom was like that familiar feeling. And then I was like, I think that hurt, and that's what I
Hmm.
remember. Yeah.
Because it almost sounds like you were out of your body almost immediately. Like you
Yeah, for
almost like
sure.
knocked. It almost sounds like you knocked yourself out your body. Like
For
that's what it sounds like.
sure. But I didn't notice it until I was midair. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you're out your body and you're in the air, and then what?
So I'm midair and I see everything, a bunch of, oh, yeah, I seen a bunch of Bibles just flying, King James Version Bibles just flying all over the place, and a bunch of
Interesting.
crosses. I got like the interpretation of that as my opinion of the King James Version Bible. That's what I was raised on. That's what I was taught to fear. If you don't follow every single thing in this book, you're gonna burn. So I think like that was my own kind of self thoughts right there. But then
What
I
do you
just
mean?
see
Like how? Like what was that interpretation? You mean like having it knocked? So that was like that was getting knocked out of you too. Like those thoughts about God in the Bible was being knocked out of you too. Was that was
no,
that what that meant?
that was fear that I was gonna burn in that lake of
Okay.
fire because of my opinion about these books. So they just were like
Okay.
being tossed around, like kind of like, I don't know if it was like maybe taunted at me or something like that, but those Bibles, it just reminded me like, oh, I didn't agree with all the King James Bible. Like, is it true? Am I gonna burn? It was one of those things.
Okay. Almost like your thoughts were just kind of like going crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. But outside of my thoughts, what I'm looking at is a bunch of angels just everywhere, just all in circles, just like all around. But these particular two, it seemed like I knew all my life.
Describe that. Like so, it was angels, and what do you mean? Like it seemed like you knew them all your life. Like who were
It
they?
felt familiar, and that, like I said, at this point, I didn't know who I was. Like I
Yeah.
can say now, I really know like they were my guardian angels.
Right.
Then at that moment, I had no idea who they were. I just knew they were just one angel here, one angel there. I just recognized they looked so familiar. There was one on my left hand side, kind of like a beetle kind of face, like a beetle. Like he wasn't so much human, but then his wings were huge, and he was about like maybe 8 foot something. But then I looked to my right side, and this dude, he's like more man human than anything. Curly hair, uh, blue jeans, red flannel shirt, sleeves rolls up to the elbows, and
Hmm.
super buff. Like his muscle tone was insane.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
But
Were
oh,
they?
and his wings, instead of going out, they were like up more, like long up. The other ones was long out.
Was there any significance of one being on your left and one being on your right? Like, did that mean anything?
No, not at that time. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So you're out your body, you're flying around in the sky, you see these angels, and like what's going through your mind at that point?
Get me out of here! Get me out of here! I'm gonna burn! I'm gonna burn! I'm gonna burn! I was scared. I
Oh,
thought I was gonna
fear.
burn. So scared. But I knew I was okay because they both kind of like grabbed me by one arm each, and they're like, it's okay, don't worry, like don't be scared." They kept trying to just reassure me not to be scared.
So they were trying to calm you.
Yeah, they sure were, because there was like this hole in one of these clouds I was looking at, and I like to call it a donut hole. But if I were to walk through that donut hole, I would have definitely went completely to the other side, and then who knows if I would have came back or not.
So okay, so I guess like what like so where did you go versus where that donut hole was then?
Okay, so the exact spot I jumped out the car, I was just
Mm-hmm.
vanished, just same spot. Just I was like way in the air. That's all. So
Mm-hmm.
at I was there's clouds here, angels here. Like I'm in the sky, literally. But like I said, there's this particular cloud, and it was like shining with that light that donut hole, and that's what I knew. I somehow knew if I walked through, I'm not coming back.
So you didn't go through that.
No, I didn't. I didn't cross that donut hole.
Okay. So
Hmm.
where did you go instead?
I stayed where I was at, just like midair. So I
Oh,
seen everything. Here's the buildings I was at. There's my body on the ground. There's the friend I was with. There's the cops, the firemen. All these lights just flashing, and like the paramedics and stuff trying to like do CPR and all that type of stuff on me. That's what I could
okay.
see.
Okay. So in that moment, like what else did the angels or God, like what were they saying to you? Cause like why did you come back?
Okay, so at this point, the angel on my right side just kind of looked okay, because the left one, I looked and he had like the stern voice. He's like, "Are you sure you want to go?" Because this, I was trying to get out of there. So I
Yeah.
turned to this side. The one on my right says, like, in the softest voice, you have so much to do for so many people. And as soon as he said that, I just felt this instant urge to like forget what I was on before, what I was thinking. I gotta go back. And a lot of people even now ask me, like, you want to get out of there? There's a chance. You said no. But it was that urge, like, okay, I got a lot to do, and I just knew I had to go back.
So it was just like you felt like a higher calling for your life at that point
Yeah, and I didn't even
to
know
go
what it
back.
was or why. I just knew I gotta go back.
Did you see anything else besides those angels? Like, did you see like Jesus? Did you see like, I don't know, God? Like,
Okay, so like before I went to the air, I was where I was at, like on the ground. I was still on the ground, but there was a bunch of colors like black, blue, yeah, all these different just colors. And it wasn't like I was looking at the buildings I was around. None, I didn't see none of that. It was just all color at this point. And that's when I didn't see visually with my eyes. I didn't see a God with my eyes, but I felt them. I felt every part of them. And I can't say like it was more like of a woman times 1,000, but then more of a masculine man times 1,000. So I don't know. Like sometimes I don't really like saying like him or like her. It was more like that source, that ultimate source is what I didn't see it, but I felt it. Now the
yeah,
angels I seen,
yeah.
yeah,
So that's interesting. That's an interesting distinction. So the angels, you saw those, like you
seen.
saw the angels,
Like I'm
but like
looking at you, I
this,
seen them.
okay,
Yeah,
and this God presence,
felt.
like you felt. I almost want to ask, like, besides the seeing part, like, what's the difference between like God and angels?
Hmm. Honestly, I think okay. This is how I can compare it. See or feeling God presence was the most supreme feeling you ever, and it's everything's just like boom, 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 boom.
Hmm.
Just it's like electric, not even like electric shocks, but like thunder and lightning. Just every word that's said telepathically. It's not like audible words, but telepathic words.
Hmm.
Um, angels, I can actually see them, but it felt like that power is a lot of power, but there was still a
Yeah.
little bit less than that supreme.
And the angels, they were actually talking to you, it wasn't telepathically.
Angels, they were talking to me telepathically. Like
Oh,
all
they were
that
talking to you.
communication up there is telepathic. It's not like the words we're saying with our voices. You're not hearing voices. You're hearing the thoughts and the understanding. I guess if that makes sense.
So, and what other conversations did you guys have while you were there, like in the sky?
With the angels,
Yeah, besides like, are you sure you want to come back? Like besides that, like
oh
did you guys talk about anything else?
no, they told me to look down. So because I
Mm-hmm.
was looking at my body, I'm like, wait. And I see me, they know I'm hard headed and I got a lot of
Right.
trust issues. So I'm
Right.
not really gonna believe too much unless like I see the proof. You gotta show me
Right.
for me to believe it.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, I know. Like you don't believe this stuff happens. We're gonna show you, so you'll never doubt again. Told me to look down. I look down, and
Mm.
they're like, I see me, paramedics, everybody, and they're like, no, look again. Like you got to know this stuff really happens. So I'm like, I looked down and I looked at them. I'm like, so this really happens. I looked
Mm.
down and then it zoomed in like a camera, like one of those like zoomed in just like a camera, and
Yeah.
I see clearly I'm laying right there, but I'm not there. I'm here in the sky, but I'm looking at myself.
Wow.
So they
So
asked me, they're like, "Do you want to stay or do you want to go?" It's like, do I want to stay with them or do I want to go back?
so you could have stayed and went on if you wanted to.
That's the thing. They gave me the choice, and after hearing that so much to do for so many people, it was kind of at that point a no brainer. Like, okay, I got to go back. I got to get back right now.
You know, it's funny because other people I talk to, they say they didn't get a choice. It was, or the choice was they can go back as them, or they can go back as this, as somebody new, as a new baby, but you still gonna have to go through,
Okay, that
everything you
I've
went through.
never heard
Almost
that
like,
before.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
I
what
believe
that's
you
what
though.
I've heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's either you coming back as you, or
Mm.
you gonna come back, you gonna start all over again, like game over,
Like that
come back
movie
with
Down
another
to Earth
life.
with Chris Rock.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so you could have left,
I could have
and
left.
or you could have came back, but you chose to come back because you felt a higher calling.
Hmm.
So in that moment that you decided to come back, were you immediately like sucked right into your body?
But this is the thing. I came out of a coma because like when I say yeah I'll go back, I woke up in a coma in the hospital. This was some days later.
Oh, you woke up days later.
Yeah,
Wow.
days later. I woke up days later in the hospital, and the
Wow.
nurses and all them were like, "Oh my God, the miracle! He's up! He's up!" I didn't know what was going on, and
Mm,
yeah, they said I like hemorrhaged how many times, threw up how many bags, and it was crazy. They said I lost so much blood, they thought I was gone. I was never, and
mm.
they said they were gonna have to pull the plug or something. Like they didn't know what was gonna happen.
It's crazy because like how long you were down for like days, but how long did you feel like you were in the sky talking to the angels?
Okay, it's hard to okay. Time is like time really doesn't mean much. It's like up there is like really timeless, but if I had to like equate it to like earthly time, I would say maybe
Yeah.
like I say it was a good I don't know, maybe a good 10, 15 minutes it felt like something like that.
Jesus.
About 10,
Wow.
15 minutes maybe.
Wow.
Hmm.
But here days had passed. That is so interesting. Wow. Okay. So you come back and days had passed, and so do you like it, like, because I'm sure you had like stuff all
Oh
in
yeah,
you
yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah,
woke up, so you
yeah.
woke up, I'm sure, in pain, and can you just
No,
describe like,
I didn't feel pain till I left the hospital. That's the thing, like,
okay,
because I was even in the hospital for a few more days after that. So,
okay,
um, but I didn't feel pain till then. I was just so like, I guess like doped up or medicined up or whatever. I
yeah,
didn't feel nothing really, and I didn't remember anything that happened at all. I just knew I was in the hospital. And I didn't know why.
okay, so you wake up in the hospital, and then what, like what is going through your mind, what?
I just looked and seen Jello, and I was like, Jello? I was like, could I have this? And they were like, yeah, that's yours. I'm like, this all mine? They was like, yeah, that's all. I didn't know what happened.
Right, right.
So then after doing just tests and all these like, I don't know what they were called, like put me through machines and all this different other stuff and talking about like intensive care and IC unit and all this other codes. And I didn't know nothing. I just knew I was at the hospital. I didn't know why.
So you're in the hospital, and I'm sure you had a long recovery, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
um like what was
Outside
what
of the
was
hospital.
yeah,
Yeah.
outside of the hospital, so you get out the hospital in what, like 2 days or so, and
Few,
then
like 4 days, something like that. Yeah.
I guess what, you had to go to rehab or?
No, it's funny. I was supposed to, and they told me,
Mm-hmm.
follow up, come back. I didn't go to no therapy, no nothing. I just started recovering, and that was it. I just knew, like, okay, let me just try to recover myself. I don't like going to hospitals. I don't trust doctors. I don't trust. I guess like I'm a hard
There go
headed
those
kind of
trust issues.
right. Like I guess a hard headed kind of person. I just knew when I was wheelchaired out of the hospital because like I didn't have my senses, couldn't really like talk, couldn't smell, couldn't taste, like nothing. I just knew when I was wheelchaired out of the hospital, I looked up at the sky and just was like, hmm. Then I looked down on the floor and seen that concrete. And I just remember that, that boom kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked up at like the horizon, the sun, all that. And I just knew, I'm like, something happened where I don't got to be scared to death anymore. And that's all I knew
Mm,
that day.
so who helped you as you recovered, like when you went home, like who'd you go home to, like
So
what
my
was that,
friend,
all
yeah,
that
my
like?
friend picked me up. My friend picked me up. Her and her family they picked me up, stayed with them, and did my recovery there. And yeah, sure enough, they took pretty good care of me.
And how long did it take for you to like fully recover?
Months, I say about maybe 6, something like that, months. But it's funny because like to this day, sometimes like my tongue will get stuck to the roof of my mouth and like try to say a word, it'll like get stuck and stuff like that. I guess this could be some like long term damages or whatever, but
Long
as far as
term
like
after
scars to
effects.
clear up, I could walk, talk again, all that stuff took about maybe about like 4 to 6 months or something like that. It was pretty long.
But what about like your attitude? Because I can imagine like, coming out after a coma, now being having to regain all your functionalities and things like that. Like, can you describe like your attitude when you came back to yourself?
I just knew that we all gotta love each other. Like that's all I knew. Like we
Hmm.
gotta love each other. Like there's so much little stuff we worry about in this life, and we need to be. It's like a whole bigger picture. People worried about so many small things.
Now, did this experience change how you feel about your mother?
For sure. Because before my mom, like before my near death experience, all that, I had a lot of anger, resentment, hurt, mainly hurt from her, from abandoning me and stuff like that, never wanting me, stuff like that. So after my near death experience, it took a few years, but I was on the verge to try to look for her because she was homeless. Nobody knew where she was at. So
Hmm.
I was on the verge to try to look for her and like make amends, but I was probably a few years too late because that's when I found out she passed away before I could
Mm.
really, really like get there to her or find her.
Did your mom have like a drug problem?
No, from what I remember, she was all completely against drugs and alcohol, anything like that. That wasn't her personality.
Mm. So when your mother died, did that like, I don't know, because since you experienced death and sort of seen what happens and everything, like did that sort of like help you with your mom's death, or like have you even like not to, like did you have you had contact with your mom after she passed and got a better understanding of why, or
I think so. So my family members ended up contacting someone else that contacted me because I don't really have contact with my family. They never care or whatever.
yeah,
So yeah, so when I found out from this family friend that about my mom, I took it upon myself to help her transition. Especially I was already like, okay, I forgive you, mom. I been forgave her. So yeah, it hurt that she wasn't here. I couldn't tell her that like I love her and everything, but I was able to get her cremated and be able to have her. So that way, like even though she left me, I still got her.
right,
And
right.
so wait, well, I lost my train of thought right now.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. So okay.
Oh, my contact with her. So
Mhm.
about the day or the second day after I heard she passed away, I had this dream which I felt like was that contact with her. And the dream, I had this because I had this picture when I was a kid. It was me and her, and that's the only picture I ever had of us. So with that picture, I was maybe like 12 or 13, I forgot, and I cut it with scissors because I was mad. So it was only me in that picture, and then I like ripped hers apart and threw it away because I was angry. And in that dream, I seen that same picture. It shows me, and then it expands out and it shows her. So I seen that whole picture before I ripped it in this
Mm.
dream. Then I see her, and this is my best friend. It's my homegirl. We like, hugging, slapping fives, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I'll see you later, girl. All that kind of stuff. Like, that was my homegirl, like my best friend that I ever had. We laughed. Man, had such a good time. And I was helping her move into her new house.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like I said, like maybe the day or two after she passed away. I felt like that was her communication with me.
Like that she's still with you, she's still there, and she loves you.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, with this experience, like I don't want people to like listen to this and be like on some like I should commit suicide and I could see God and be transformed and all of
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
when listening to this. But I do want to ask like for people that are feeling low and feeling in that dark space, like what would you recommend to help them get out of that? Because you don't have to die to see God.
Mhm. And I try to no, and that's what I try to stress this on so many times I talk to people. I'm not telling you to go out and do it. I'm just saying, like, don't do what I did. There's a reason I stayed. Like, understand that. So you don't go out there and try it either. I know the mind of a suicidal person. I know how they think. I was there. So it's like the only thing I can tell anybody that's feeling down, suicidal, is talk to someone. Don't be hard headed like I was. Go talk to someone, because I guarantee there's somebody out there that will help. And if nobody's out there you feel comfortable with, you rather tell somebody you don't know and never met, and you can just get all your stuff out. Call the suicide hotline. I've tried it when I was during that phase. I tried it, and I will say it works. They do care for you. They try to, talk you out of it. They try to figure out what's going on. There's real people there that really do sound concerned. So, like I say, sometimes we just need to get it out. And even if it takes that, like, 800 or 88, whatever number it is, do that.
And how have you sort of changed after this? Like, I'm sure like life is still life, right? So you have ups and downs and things continue to happen. So like how has your experience changed how you approach life struggles?
I think really what helps me, and I know it's not for I know everybody's like not the same, but I was lucky enough for that near death experience to still keep in contact with those guardian angels. So there's so many things in this life when I feel at my worst, I contact them and I'll be like, okay, what should I do? What should I do? And they always give me advice. That's my way of getting through stuff. And they just give me a lot of advice. Like, look at the small things, do things, baby steps, one at a time. Don't put everything out there by yourself. Don't think you got to do everything out one day. So there's so many things that they will tell me. And they also tell me to look at the most important things, and sometimes, like, be grateful for the little things. And so
Mm,
many things is how. Oh, and also another thing they always tell me is somebody else is doing worse. So
mm.
there's always it can always be worse.
How do you contact them?
I just hear from them. Like, I know their voices. The thoughts I'm thinking, they respond back. I got my heart open, my mind open. I know it's them. Just like, if it were to be someone else saying, "Hey, I'm your angel," I would know it's not them. Because it's like, if you're telling me that your name is Erica,
Mm,
but somebody else, they're telling me, "Hey, I'm Erica," I'd be like, "No, you're not. That's her voice right
right,
there." That's how
right.
I can tell.
How do you approach religion now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. After my near death experience, I had the hugest hate for religion because of what it did to
Mm,
me. But at the end of the day, there's so many people out there that are confused, and they try to get to God any way they can. So whether
mm-hmm,
if it is through religion, do what you do. But my opinion of religion, from what I know, I feel like religion is just a cult.
mm,
I feel like it's a way to keep people apart. It's another gang, like the cops, like the gang, like the Crips or Bloods, right? It's like the same thing. You got religion, you got the Christian and Catholic. It's like so many religions against each other, but yet we're all trying to get to the same God. Why is there so many
mm.
religions? Why are so many people confused? And why are so many people at war with each other because of religion? It shouldn't be like that.
So how do you approach it in terms of like your spirituality? Like how do how do you approach it now? Like of course I know you don't go to church, but like do you pray? Do you like what are some things do you do?
I meditate like, especially if I can, like, every morning. There's times I don't sleep much because I gotta meditate. I'm so busy with school, all that stuff. My time to meditate may be at 2, 3 in the morning. I may be like pacing back and forth through my living room, just thinking and plotting, and thinking and contacting, and thanking God for things. Or I might be driving. I might be listening to music and meditating. I don't just, like, let's just say I gotta get down on my knees, pray, and then that's how. I don't really go about it like that. I feel like you can contact God, the source, wherever, however. You don't even got to say stuff loud. You can just honestly think it and still hears it.
Mm. And in terms of like, because you said something about working with mentally disabled people. Do you still do that? And um, I wanted to ask you because you said that you think that they're they're closer to God or closer to the spiritual world. Can you explain, like, why do you think that?
Okay, so many years of working with special ed. I would never let my special ed go, but yeah, so many years of working with those kids, and I see there's so many things that, like, what they call the regular quote unquote kid, they have so many advantages. They can, they can walk, they can talk, they can, but versus the kid that's nonverbal, they're so limited.
Mm,
So they get to see and focus in. They have more, I guess you could say, more time, more open mindedness to receive God's messages. And
mm.
there's so many ways that they think. I really just feel like even with each other, they can contact each other, they can communicate with each other and still be nonverbal.
Hmm.
But we have to use our
Interesting.
words and talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like, don't you yell at each other. Don't you get what I'm saying? Them, they don't have to say one word. They can't. There, a lot of them are nonverbal. So I feel like there's, if they're not like verbal, they're so quiet they can listen to that message a lot better than that kid that's talking and talking and talking and you can't hear.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I think I either read something or saw something where they said, like, almost like kids with autism are like, they can communicate differently, like on like telepathically, like how you were communicating with God and your angels, almost like.
And animals, I feel like those, like autistics, or not even autistic, but like special ed, animals,
Yeah.
all that. I feel like they all have this special connection to God.
Interesting. So what are you doing today? Have you had any other experiences? I know you have your spirit guides, but what like today or recently, just, have you had any other type of revelations from your experience that,
No, I think the one I had pretty much set me for life. I know there's people with
yeah,
like three, four different, like five, six different near death experiences. I can't say that was me. I had one near death
yeah.
experience, and that was enough to last me a lifetime. I still remember every detail like it was yesterday.
So you say you learned your lesson
I
until the
learned the
shit
first. I
time
learned the
back.
first time. Yeah,
Do you think that you're living the purpose that your guides said that you were supposed to live?
I do now.
That's the reason why you came back.
Yeah, I do now. I do now. It took a
What do
couple
you?
years to get there, but
Hmm.
mhm.
So what are you doing now? Let's talk about what the Chris now. Let's talk
Well,
about.
I just speak more. I became a public
Yeah.
speaker. I tried to get out there any way I could. I wrote a book a couple years back. I don't even promote it anymore. I gave
Well,
most of them for free. I
what's
mean,
what's the book called? We're not going to do that. What's the book
uh-oh.
called?
Oh man. Oh, they gonna say I'm promoting my book. Okay, so so it's called Boom: The Life and Times of a Near Death Experiencer, and
Okay.
or suicide near death experiencer. You could
Okay.
find it. Just Google me. Really, just put Chris Batts or Chris NDE. You'll find the book. All I
Okay.
ask is if anybody wants to support, do I appreciate it. But just do not go through other websites. I don't know if I can say these. You know, I beep them out. But like people like 8 Books and Walmart and different people, they sell my book, but they skyrocketed the price and they get the money. I don't. So like
Okay.
if you
So
do
go
want,
direct.
right, if you do want to support me, just go through Amazon. That's how you can
Gotcha.
support me.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anything else you want the people to know, Chris?
No, just maybe for somebody that's out there that has someone that may feel down on themselves, make sure you let them know that you do love them. They are, that you are there for them, because that right there is like the number one thing that a suicidal person would look for. That's all I could say.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. I definitely think that other people will too, and I definitely think it'll help someone and continue to maybe spread like the consciousness of like, let's just get better and let's
Right,
be
right, right.
better.
It's all about being better. Yeah.
Yeah, let's be better to each other.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much, Chris. My name is E, and this is Vision Rebirth. Of course, y'all know you can find the show, Vision Rebirth, on all social platforms. On YouTube, you can find me, _real E, on all social media platforms. Chris, do you want to shout out your social media platforms?
Uh, just Facebook, really. I don't do much
Gotcha.
social media. I'm under a rock. Just Chris NDE. That's my Facebook. Don't be a stranger. You need some help. Don't be afraid to reach out. You know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for listening. And this is E and Vision Rebirth. And cut.